2, 1, go. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about functions. Now, a function is basically a relationship between what we call a domain and a range. So I need to define what a domain and range is for you. Okay, so the domain of a function is basically the set of all inputs, and the range is the set of all outputs. So for example, if I give you a list of ordered pairs, say 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, 7, -1, -4, -5, 7, and 0, 0. Okay, so here's a list of ordered pairs where the first component, those are your inputs, and the second component, those are your outputs. So if I ask you to find the domain and range, I'm just asking you to collect all the input values for the domain. So that will be 1, 3, 5, -1, -5, and 0. And for the range, we'll just go ahead and collect all of the output values. Okay, and those are 3, 4, 7, -4, 7, and 0. Okay, now pictorially we can think about domain and range as this. Let's say I have 2 ellipses. This one will represent the domain, and this one will represent the range. And let's say I have elements in my domain. Now we're talking about elements that maybe aren't numbers. Okay, and let's say we have 2 elements in the range there. And if I draw a relationship between the elements of the domain and the elements of the range, for this to be called a function, each element in the domain can only correspond to a single unique element in the range. Okay, so for example, if I draw something like this, this is a function, because notice each element in my domain here only has one, let me make these arrows, only has one arrow coming out of it. So there's a unique element in the range that this element maps to, a unique element in the range over here that this element goes to, and so on. But now if I gave you something like this, now we have a problem here, and this is no longer a function because you can see here this element in the domain goes to 2 different elements in the range. But we can have multiple elements in the domain going to a single element in the range, like this. Right? So just because this output here corresponds to many inputs, the important part to note, if I want to call this a function, is that each element in the domain has a unique output. Each input here has a unique output.